Teacher, I'm really struggling with memorizing new vocabulary in English. No matter how much I try, the words just don't stick in my mind. What can I do? It's so frustrating. I understand how you feel. Learning new vocabulary can be challenging. But don't worry, there are many techniques that can help you remember words more effectively. Let me share some interesting and not so common tips that might make a difference for you. Really? That would be great. I'm willing to try anything at this point. Alright, let's start with something you might not have considered: creating mental images. When you learn a new word, try to create a vivid mental picture that represents that word. The more unusual or exaggerated the image, the better it will stick in your mind. For example, if you're trying to remember the word gigantic, imagine a giant elephant balancing on a tiny ball. This image connects to the meaning of the word with something visual, making it easier to recall. It's something I always recommend to my students, and it works well. That sounds fun. I've never thought of using pictures in my mind to remember words. It can be very effective, believe me. Another tip is to use the words in a story. Instead of just trying to memorize a list of words, create a short story that includes all the new vocabulary. The story doesn't have to make perfect sense. In fact, the sillier, the better. The narrative helps you remember the words in context, which is much easier than remembering. I see. So if I'm learning words like cat, umbrella, and chocolate, I could make up a story about a cat using an umbrella to protect its chocolate from the rain. Exactly. That's a perfect example. The more creative you are with the story, the more likely you are to remember the words. Another technique you can try is associating words with emotions or experiences. When you learn a new word, think about a time in your life when you experienced something related to that word, or imagine how that word could make you feel. Emotions are powerful memory triggers. So if I learn the word, let's see, joyful, I could think about a time when I felt really happy, like when I got my first bike. Exactly. By connecting the word to a personal experience or emotion, you're making it more meaningful, which helps with retention. Another strategy is to teach the words to someone else. When you explain a new word to someone, you're reinforcing your own understanding of it. This method also helps you practice using the word in a way that makes sense, which deepens your memory of it. Well, it can work, but teacher, what if I don't have anyone to teach? You can still teach the words by pretending to explain them to an imaginary friend, for example, or even writing them down as if you are preparing a lesson. It works well. The act of organizing your thoughts to explain the word is what helps reinforce the memory. I've never thought about that. It's like being my own teacher. I like it. Exactly. And here's another tip: use the words in different contexts. Try to use the new vocabulary in various situations. Write them in sentences. Use them when you're speaking, or even think about them when you're daydreaming. The more you use the word in different contexts, the stronger your memory of it will become. So, if I learned a word like curious, I should try to use it in different sentences, like, I'm curious about the weather. My dog is curious about the new toy, and she has a curious habit of humming while she works. Is that correct? Exactly. Using the word in different contexts helps you understand it better and makes it easier to recall. Those tips are really interesting, teacher. Do you have any more advice for me, please? Well, another effective strategy is to use spaced repetition. This involves reviewing the words you've learned at gradually increasing intervals. First, after a few minutes, then after a few hours, then a day later, and so on. This method helps move the words from your short term memory to your long term memory. There are apps that can help you with spaced repetition, or you can create your own system. Oh, I see. I've heard about spaced repetition but never tried it. I'll give it a shot. It's a proven method, so I think you'll find it useful. Another tip is to learn vocabulary in chunks or phrases rather than individual words. For example, instead of just learning the word run, you might learn phrases like run a marathon or run out of time. Learning words in context helps you understand how they are used and makes them easier to remember. Plus, it's more practical since you'll be learning how to use the words in real life situations. Always try to make it real. It helps a lot. That makes a lot of sense. I've noticed it's easier to remember phrases than single words. Exactly. I always recommend to my students to use that method. Another tip is to incorporate vocabulary into your hobbies or interests. For instance, if you enjoy cooking, Try learning the English words for different ingredients or cooking techniques. If you like sports, focus on sports related vocabulary. By connecting new words to activities you enjoy, you're more likely to remember them because they become part of something you're passionate about. I like this one. That's a great idea. I love music, so I could learn the English words for different instruments or music genres. This way, learning feels less like a chore and more like a natural part of your hobbies. Another effective technique is to practice speaking the words out loud as much as possible. When you say a word out loud, you're engaging multiple senses, seeing the word, hearing it, and feeling the movement of your mouth as you pronounce it. It works very well. This multisensory approach helps reinforce the word in your memory. I often study silently, so maybe I should try speaking the words more. Yes, give it a try. And here's another idea: use technology to your advantage. There are many apps and online resources that offer interactive vocabulary exercises, games, and quizzes. These tools can make learning more engaging and fun, and they often adapt to your learning level to help you focus on areas where you need the most practice. I've used some apps before, but I didn't stick with them. Maybe I should give them another try. It's worth trying different ones to see which works best for you. Lastly, remember remember the importance of reviewing what you've learned regularly. It's easy to forget new words. If you don't practice them frequently, set aside time each week to review the words you've learned and test yourself to see how well you remember them. Regular review helps keep the vocabulary fresh in your mind. I guess I've been focusing too much on learning new words and not enough on reviewing. Reviewing is just as important as learning new words. It helps consolidate your knowledge and ensures that the vocabulary becomes a permanent part of your memory. Oh god, it's really late. Don't forget to like the video and comment. Take care. I hope you liked this conversation. If you could improve your English a little more, please subscribe to the channel and share this video with a friend. And if you want to support this channel, you can join us or click on the Super Thanks button. Thank you very much for your support. Take care.